a woman, you have no business comparing your body count to a man's body count. It doesn't matter how much y'all keep trying to make us be equivalent to men or make it seem like we can do what the men can do. We simply just cannot. And one day y'all gonna realize that we're not like men. I've talked to so many women who had a lot of bodies in their life, ex-hoes as y'all would call them, and I've asked them how do they feel about their past decisions in life, and most of them, if not all of them, said if I knew better I would have did better. I regret it. I never thought I seen myself as a wife, but now I want to be married. So the point is, there is no happy ending in that lifestyle. But this is the thing. I'm getting ready to show you ladies a visual demonstration, the best way I could think to show y'all why you should not be comparing your body count to a man, and why you just shouldn't want to accumulate a lot of bodies to begin with. I got something. Hold on. This is Ariana, and this is Mike. Start with Big Mike. Big Mike, he outside. This is Big Mike. This is obviously the top of his penis, and this is obviously Mike's penis, okay? All of Big Mike's sperm inside of his penis, okay? Inside of here is all the women that Big Mike like to, you know, have sex with, okay? This is all his sperm. Big Mike just hit Amanda. Big Mike just hit Terica, Aaliyah, Brandy, Glow, Lotto, Meg Thee Stallion, Alicia, Deborah, Keisha, Shabria, Leah, Tay-Tay, Yolanda, Carissa, Paris, London, Terica, Tiffany, Sade, Mariah, Kelsey, Linda, Candace, Tara. I don't know who the last name should be, but pretty much that's just a big body count for him, right? Okay, up, wrong top. So boom, he done let loose in so many women, and guess what? His stuff that he has to let loose is swimming around in many different women. You know, it's just swimming around, and now he's a little on empty until he refills. And Big Mike is back outside for a hot boy summer, and he ready to go hit about 40 more girls. Okay, got some Lysol, aka body wash, soap. Big Mike is in the shower. He wiping himself down on the outside. Ain't got nothing in the inside. His penis is still his penis. Voila. Big Mike is ready to go hit 40 more girls. As you can see, fresh is new on the outside. Now we got the girl who want to say, well, if Mike can do it, Mike can do it, I can do it. I'm about to be outside too, just like Mike. Mike had 40 girls. I'm about to go give me 40 dudes. Like, I mean, why y'all want to try to always do like a double standard? So now you got the girl who wants to be like Big Mike. Let's see how that goes for her. We started off by messing with Big Mike. Got a little Big Mike. She wanted to mess with Terrion. She wanted to mess with big dope boy Derek. She wanted to mess with Scamming Leo. She also wanted to mess with Dewan. She wanted to mess with the dude that always take her out to get lunch. Ugh. She wanted to mess with Rico. Who else did she want to mess with? She wanted to mess with Jules, Then she ended up getting into like a long-term relationship. And so she really just, you know, messed with him a lot. So now we're going to accumulate her body count. And as women, you're getting things that's being injected inside of you. Whereas Big Mike was the one doing the pushing outside of him. So now you got you walking around, a girl who wanted to live a hot girl summer, done went and tried to get her body count up. And this is how you're being looked at. Big Mike's still in good tack. He's not receiving anything. He's just pushing it out. And all he got to do is clean off the outside. Doesn't matter if you get some Lysol and wipe yourself off just like Mike. Because Mike wiped himself off. And guess what? You take showers every day too, shoot. You in the shower, you wash it up real good. Matter of fact, we love to smell good. Got some Dolce Light. So now sis even look good. Sis smell good. She done wiped herself off clean as ever. But guess what? Nobody's going to forget that you done moved around disgustingly as a woman. Nobody's going to forget that you have that look to yourself because you done played yourself and messed with so many different men. You see the difference, ladies? So in case y'all ever wanted to know what the difference between a man having a bunch of sex and giving penis versus a woman having a lot of sex and receiving penis, this is the difference. Stop comparing yourself to men. Unless you want to walk around looking nasty, looking contaminated, looking dirty, looking trashy, looking skanky, and people are not going to forget this look. That's your reputation. They're not going to forget how you look. Then stop trying to compare yourself to men. There's no comparison. Now, let me clean this mess up. Let that sink in. And have a good day. A woman, you have no...
I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kodash. Yahweh is the Most High God, and Yahweh Shai is who the world inwardly calls Jesus the Christ. The Rakah Kodash is the Holy Spirit in the Paleo Hebrew. And double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And the mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same spirit, teaching this word and believing this word. Lord, in the same spirit that they continue to endure and be sincere. And Shalom to the Akwatiyam that are believers in his faith and his truth. Lord, that you can continue to pursue your lot, which is being a loving and silent, virtuous wife. And Lord, the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in the faith. The title of this lesson is Men and Women Will Never Think or Be the Same. I'm going to say it again. Men and women will never think or be the same. And the Lord made us different. This video that this sister made, I think Chevy Caprice, she did a beautiful lesson. What she was going into, she really do a lot of videos talking towards women. And again, men and women will never think or be the same. Especially when we look in scriptures. You know, of course, people want to throw away the Old Testament just because we're in a lower state. But you cannot take away from the culture and what the Lord said, what you can and what you can't do. Because Yahweh Shai came on the scene, people think certain things is done away, and a man has to move like this and move like that. To be more wise in this society, of course, most of us is not going to deal with certain women because when we look at the state of our nation, we look towards the women, right? Because if the woman is not in order, the nation is not going to flourish to what it needs to be. Let alone we are a adulterous generation from time and time again being defiled. And the number one thing with women is, regardless if they can feel that they faithful, loyal, or a solid woman, it comes to find out that a woman laid with a guy before she met you, either 2, either 3, either 4, either 5, either 6, either 7, either 8, either 9, either 10, and I could keep on counting. And they could still think that they have say-so to run a man or say what he can't have and what he don't want to do, but look how society is now, that a woman can have certain wages or feel she a boss because of this society. And if a man don't have certain assets, he can't deal with her. We understand scripture say if a man don't provide for his house, he's worse than an infidel, right? But even in time past, men was providing for women in a different level where she had food and clothes, right? But in other attributes, what most men doing, they doing it out of their heart. When you go to Proverbs 31, that women want to use all the time, a woman provides for her household too, let alone she's providing for herself, But this society under Esau got a lot of our women big-headed. So I'm going to just bring out a few scriptures, Lord willing, this is edifying, right? So the first one is Sirach, the 26th chapter in the G&T, in verse 12, because what she's talking about is plain in the scriptures. It says she'll spread her legs anywhere for any man who wants her, just as a thirsty traveler will drink whatever water is available. And most women is, regardless if they not in the faith or if they is, right? But even if a woman is in this truth, you must know who you was in your past, that's supposed to humble you when you come in this truth, because we're defiled as a nation. And you've been defiling yourself with laying with 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter how many men, because literally the Lord created women to have one husband, unless, the husband die and that law is cut, right? And of course we understand if a man commit adultery, that is even more a sin, because back then you'd be put to death. But like right now, the woman we could be talking about, every Jake's sister that had a relationship and left or got removed, their husband was still on the earth, But it's because we're not taught these scriptures the correct way. They want to understand. It's something that my brother said on social media, where he said, basically talking about the virginity of a woman should be held until she's with the guy of understanding. And of course some women took it another way and took it all the way left. And then he started saying, like, the same thing would you teach your daughter. Actually, I'm talking about 2 different posts where another girl was told her sister, keep dating until you find the one that's good for you. And he was basically saying this is going to teach our daughters something else, let alone in the society we in. Most girls can continue dating and they come around somebody that could be a smooth talker, somebody that they is attracted to, but he might not seem like the one for her, but she might open up her legs. And this is the problem with the society of these women. They don't believe in holding their virginity. The only time you see virginity in our nation is when they're under the age of 10 or 12 in some cases. But let's continue this with the precepts. The next one I want to get is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 10 and 11. It says, and unto the married I command, yet not I, but Yahweh Shemashai, let not the wife depart from her husband. But, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. Right? And we got certain things in the gospel, like if a man put away his wife, he might cause her to commit adultery, and he's going to be caught into a sin, and she is too, right? The Lord don't have pleasure in, divorce. Right now, if it's dealing with something unlawful that is a sin, especially for death, that's different. But really, A woman can just only remarry if her husband is dead, technically, right? But if y'all break up or separate, a woman should not marry again. Now, if a man just drops a woman just to get another woman, he gonna cause her to commit adultery. But if he has another wife, if he's still dealing with his wife and get another wife, that's not adultery. And Lord willing, later on, I could show you the meaning of adultery, especially when it pertains to a certain verse. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 39, I believe. It says, the wife is bound by the law as long as her husband liveth. But if her husband be dead, she is at liberty, basically freedom, to be married to whom she will, only in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? And technically, a woman should be married to a man of understanding. Right? That's sensible. But if that man is not dead, she shouldn't marry again. And that just goes off of what we were already just reading. Really, women are supposed to be married one time. One rod should be in that karuchi, one time. Unless what we just read right now, unless that man dies, right? So let's go to Romans, the 7th chapter, and let's read verse 2 and 3. It says, for the woman which have a husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. This is just confirmation of what we read in 1 Corinthians 7. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. So if he's dead, she's not considered adulteress. But if he's still living, she's considered adulteress. This is why you said earlier, our nation is adulterous generation, right? Or adulterous nation, because a lot of us already, without this knowledge, lay with another man's wife. I have a past, and that other brothers might have a past. Some of us probably lay with another man's wife and didn't know. And our women are adulterous, where they laying with another man, and they have a man. As soon as that man put his rod in, you already taken. Some of our sisters, not in his truth and in his truth, lost their virginity as a young age because they wanted to. Whoever popped that cherry is your first husband. If he's still on this earth, you committed adultery. You go to the second dude, you committed adultery. You go to the next one, you committed adultery. You're just an adulterous human being walking the earth, just like some of us men laying with other men's wives. You're going to see when I go into the blue letter that a man can only commit adultery when he lays with another man's wife, right? And he can fall into sin too if he put his wife away for a fornication mind, which is another form of adultery, right? Because if your wife commit adultery, you just caused her to commit that, right? You'll be held accountable for that. So you go to Deuteronomy, dealing with men having multiple women or multiple wives. I'm going into this one because if I'm saying that a woman committed adultery if she lay with another man, period, she is adulterous. But a man is not a adulterer if he lays with another single woman, right? This is just showing another example that men and women are different. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 15 to 17. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, where he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son to be loved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn, but he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. Now, we got, two scriptures that show that Yahushua come in the whole volume of the book. Right? Yahushua was the example of the sacrifice. The law is not done away with, like that you shouldn't establish it in your life. We're not saved under grace. We're not under the law, but we're under grace. And just because you're under grace does not mean that you should not rehearse this law into your life. So just in this example, if any brother has another girl that he's dealing with, 2, 3, however many you could be having. And if you love one this way and the other one you could probably love less, which is the form of hate, right? And say if you have a child that comes first out of the one that's hated, that son is still supposed to get a double portion. Now, when we come in this truth, you get to grow and get this understanding. People of the world don't understand this, but this is a law. Oh, that's the old way. We over here telling you the law, statutes, and commandments was for the children of Israel. So if Romans tell you in the 3rd chapter, we don't just be done away with the law, we establish it. Better yet, since I just brought it up, let's just go to it. Romans chapter 3 and verse we'll just go to verse 31. It says, do we then make void of the law? Do we make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yeah, we establish the law. So just because this ministry is a faith-based ministry, that does not mean that you should not establish the law. You should. That's why it says God forbid, right? We establish the law. Every day you wake up and you're an Israelite. Every month, every year you're an Israelite. You should be doing the things that are pleasing unto the Lord. We're capable of doing this law to the best of our ability. Some things we can't. We don't have a temple. Some things we can't do because we're not in our land, or some of the circumstances that consist of that law, right? Or that feast, But on this side, it's simple things that we could do, like the Shabbat. If a man has another woman, it's certain things, guess what? The first wife, her wifely duty should not diminish, which is that the main thing is sex. That shouldn't diminish just because you got another girl. It's still law. If your first wife have a period and the other one don't, you're not going to lay with your first wife, lay in the bed with her. You're not going to be rubbed up on her, right? If you do have another wife or another one, you're going to do whatever you do in your household. Split a day, split it 2, make it 3 days, make it 4. However you do, and you're going to be with the other wife that is clean. Because it's laws set up if our wife is on a period. It's laws on what we can and what we can't eat, right? Because what you can't eat is not considered food. It's laws on what clothes that you wear. But hey, how can we trust Esau? The things that they give us, we're going to serve our enemies in hunger and thirst and nakedness. They can be telling you it's cotton, but it can be in mixed fabric. So it's like in certain cases, that's where that grace comes. But we don't want to willfully do certain things because it's going to be no more room for sacrifice if you're willfully sinning, right? Willfully sinning is the wages of sin. The wages of sin is death, right? But to keep on going, just to show more history on it, 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 7 and 8. It says, Nathan said to David, thou art the man. Thus saith Yahweh Shemashai, power of Israel. I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul. And I gave thee thy master's house, and thy master's wives, unto thy bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would, moreover, have given unto thee such and such things. Wherefore thou hast Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of Yahweh to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon, right? And this is the Lord speaking through Nathan, that he anointed David king, and David had Uriah go to war a couple times. The last time he wanted him in the front line so he could die because his wife was pregnant. And of course, David tried to get crafty in there so Uriah could lay with his wife, because they didn't have no pregnancy test back then, right? But hey, it happened. And then, the Lord spoke through Nathaniel. Like, the Lord knew what was going on. And the Lord gave David, Saul, his house, right? Because Saul was his master. And the Lord gave David Saul's wives. And the Lord said later at the bottom, he said, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. He would have gave him more if he wanted. You wanted more wives, he would have gave it to him. But that's just like the same what we say on this side. It's so many fishes in the rivers, so many fishes in the seas. We just choose to holler at one that's already taken, So this is another one in the history for just like any brother now. Like, there's so many single women out here, but we'll try to holler at a woman that's having a hard time with her dude, and we want to go lay with her. There's so many women out in this world, man. A lot of us get attracted to talking to a girl that gotta do, we're so backwards on this side, Let's go to another one in the history. It's the book of Judges, chapter 8. And verse 30. And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, and he had many wives. When it says 70, that's 60 plus 10 is 70. He had 70 sons, right? And he didn't have 70 sons with one woman because he had many wives. This is just history, right? You got to know in different points in the Bible, the point why these things is coming out for our learning. When we go into the major captivities like Babylon, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, you don't see those points of multiple wives all the time. And people want to argue just because brothers is going into the law, right? Because this is what's established us right here. The law and the history of the kings, right? And then the same thing we seen in the time of David and anybody else that did wrong. It was a cause and effect that happened later on, especially being in the Greek captivity, coming into the Roman captivity, and Israel scattered 4 corners of the earth. We started following the ways of the heathen. We started doing immorality, same sex, right? We started following the ways of the heathen where they was doing orgies in the Greek captivity. Romans was doing it too. Some of us was like gladiators, and we had to lay. When you even watch the TV show Spartacus, you were made, if you didn't lay with this person's wife, or you would be put to death, right? They'll have a servant, and Rome wouldn't even care, or they wouldn't know that servant was another dude's woman. And for entertainment, they will watch you have sex. You can go watch it on Spartacus. A lot of the Greeks, the Babylonians, the Persians, right? Some people had a freaking mind like that, But these things is written for our learning, not to just brush it off on the shoulder and just say, oh no, that's the Old Testament. Nah, the Lord is dealing with the whole Bible, right? So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 8 and 9. This is an important point. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. right? The man wasn't created for woman. Woman was created for man. When we go into the time of Adam, he didn't want man to be alone, right? Or women just in general was created for man, for man's pleasures, for man's desires, right? And you women were made for a man to rule over you, right? So now let's show something about this adultery real quick, and then Lord willing we'll just probably close. This is Proverbs, the 6th chapter, verse 32. Better yet, let me go into the blue letter because I know I'm going to look up the word adultery. Proverbs 6, verse 32, it says, but whoso committeth adultery, but whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul, right? Because even back then, you would be put to death for doing it. So whoso committeth adultery.
Strong's H, 5003. Na'af.
So the last thing we was talking about was a man. To commit adultery, usually of man. This is the example that's dealing with A. Usually of man, always with wife of another. That's what adultery is for a man. When a man lays with another man's wife, that's adultery for a man. You don't see nothing if a man lay with another single woman. You don't see that. You can't add that in there, right? And even if you go into, that's fornication. You go into the word of fornication, depending on where we at. You have the top one, which is idolatry. You know, when we follow another God, we're committing for adultery too, which is idolatry, right? But then you have other fornication, which is same-sex, incest, or the adultery of a man laying with another man's woman, or and really a woman laying with another man when she has a husband. That's what it is. Now, of course, in America, way they want to tell you fornication is when a man has a wife and he lays. No, the Lord never said that. That's why when we go into this word, which is a Hebrew word for adultery, this is what adultery really means. When a man lays with another man's wife, and when a woman that has a husband lay with another man. That is not adultery when a man lays with another single woman. Because we already just showed history. We showed history on polygyny already in the scriptures, where men can have multiple wives. You know, some women argue, but why can't we? If you watch that video, just watch it over again. A man is supposed to plant seeds in women. And usually what they say that a man DNA, his seed can remain in a woman for a long period of time. This is why most women start acting different. Then they getting multiple men. You getting emotional, you getting aggressive, you getting all these things. But women, you were not created to have different rods in your coochie. And if that's the case, you might as well be a porn star. And certain things too, this is why your pH balance is the way it is. Back then, nobody wasn't really talking about no pH balance. We get in this society, we talk about it now, because now technology, you can test things way different. But why do you think a lot of you women get odors? As soon as you date somebody new, you have a odor, you know? Yeah, even if you taking showers and you taking care of yourself, it's because you have different rods, right? Even if it's raw, in most cases, pre-cum is coming out or they coming in you. It doesn't matter if you're taking birth control or not. You know, that's regardless if you cleaning yourself, you bathing yourself, your coochie was only made for one rod. Don't care if a woman want to argue it or not, right? And that's a beautiful thing. This is one-sided anyways. This video is one-sided anyways. So let's get this last one and then I'll end it. This is Leviticus 20:10. It says, the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. That's what adultery is, right? And we can click this and do the same thing we did for the last one. Committeth adultery, same thing. Usually of man always with another. Usually of man always with wife of another. And if I go like this, let's see what they kind of definition they give me. Voluntarily sexual intercourse between a married person, a person who is not his or her spouse. Right? That's a noun. This is what they're saying. Right? But when you go into the Old Testament, even in the New, which is Greek, but when you bring it back to its original language, this is the true meaning. What it said. The verse is saying it plainly. The man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife. The adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Now we can always look up. I'm about to look. Bear with me. I'm gonna look on my side real quick. Okay. That's what we gonna do. Hold on, we gonna come back to that. Hold on 1 second.
Monogamy.
This is what everybody wants to talk about all the time, monogamy. Let's see where it started. Yes, monogamy was first established in ancient Rome along with ancient Greece. This meant that Roman citizens were only allowed to have one spouse at a time. And this is why the scriptures, even more if y'all been watching lessons that I did and many other brothers, when we say America is Rome 2.0, this should hit you in the head. This is where it all began, and this is why America pushed the same thought. Right? Monogamy in ancient Rome. Roman law requires citizens to be monogamous, but divorce and remarriage were permitted. Right? But in the scriptures, who's over Rome? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. They talking about remarriage, but the Lord, we just brought out scriptures that a woman can't remarriage. Why the heck I'm gonna believe what Esau's saying? Right? Now, in some cases, we're agreeing with our adversaries in certain extent. But when we talking about law, what the Lord said we can do, that's a difference, right? It's something, even going into polygyny for men is not expedient for all men, especially on this side. This is Acts 5:29. It says, then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to be God rather than man. Right? Let alone when you go to first. I'm just saying this because I know some people say this is why we shouldn't be hearing brothers teaching the word, because we ought to listen to God or obey God than man. No, that's different. When you go to 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 19 to 21, when it says man is somebody that's of the flesh. Romans, Greece, they're all the flesh. No other nation can be in the spirit except for Israelites, right? And To be in the spirit, you have to be moved by a divine power. The Ruach HaKodesh is not from us. The Ruach HaKodesh comes from the heavens, right? It comes from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And you must believe that. Monogamy was enforced by public sanctions for adultery. Monogamy was also a way to ensure that inheritance went to a single heir. See? And this is that same thought that they do in America with that child support and who goes to what child goes where, right? They are having more control in your household. But when it comes to the law, the Lord said, even if a man had 2 wives, one he loved and the other he hated, and the one that he hated, if she has the firstborn, especially the firstborn son, he's supposed to get a double inheritance. Plain. And we read the scriptures before we went here, right? Monogamy in ancient Greece. Monogamy was the rule in ancient Greece, except in some cases in Sparta, right? And guess what? A lot of people in Sparta was Israelites. We could say, you can go on my channel. I did a lesson on the people of Sparta. Right, I forgot what they was called, but the people of the like the movie 300, those people were really Jakes, because when you go into the Maccabees, they were kin to Abraham, right? But it says monogamy was a way to ensure that families were nuclear, with a husband, wife, and children living together. Monogamy in Christianity. Christianity is not in the Bible. Christianity embraced monogamy and taught it as an idea. Christianity spread monogamy throughout the Western world. Yes, they did. Now, people want to use monogamy because in the beginning, Adam and Eve, or when the verse say, when a son or a daughter leaves their parents, the son cleaves to his wife and the wife cleaves to the husband. Because in most cases, no man is getting up and you walking and said, I'm getting 2 wives at the same time. It wouldn't work, because literally those 2 women are not going into bed together. You know, they're not eating each other, ain't none of that. So literally at a time of making love, he's doing one at a time. The Lord is smart. Like, his mind is way different than us. Like, as soon as you think of this, that people want to use the Adam and Eve twine one flesh. Oh no, the Lord is not dealing with that, because in most cases, if I got a son with me right now, right? When he gets older, the way that I'm teaching him, you know, the same way he see me with my household, with my wives. But when he get old enough in that age to be married, he's going to pursue one woman. Hey, and if it ever happened that it slips across, hey, in the kingdom, I know he's going to have women, right? But literally, when you get older and of age as a man, it's going to be one woman on like that gets your interest. And for you to pursue her and give her time or attention, you putting that time onto her. You know, however that happens, it doesn't matter if it's a week, a month later, you talking to another girl, hey, it is what it is, right? But literally, to me, 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4. You know, that makes sense, right? But to try to use that for, oh no, a man's supposed to be with one woman. Men is different from women, and women is different from men. So especially in a sexual preference, if a man laid with 4 people and a woman laid with four people, that woman has more miles and she's way more defiled. She's defiled because a man, when we look in what the scriptures say, especially when it deals, if a man wants it, he's not off. It's not off, because woman was made for man. But women, you were only made to have one rod in you. One. So don't, let this go over your head. So all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. And with that, Shalom.